Hello everyone. In this tutorial, created with the 2019 version of Substance Painter, but also valid with other versions, we will see how to recover the ID colors of a model, when available, to use them to quickly create layer masks. ID colors are, as the name suggests, colors associated with vertices or faces of a 3D model. They are not the colors that are displayed in the rendered image, but additional information stored in the Vertex colors information channel of the object. The RGB values of a color are actually numbers, so they can be used as parameters for filters and other tools. Substance Painter, and other software and tools as well, are able to retrieve this information and use it for various purposes. For example, in Substance we can create layer masks by selecting in one go all the geometries that have the same vertex color. When we add a layer mask to a material in a project, among the effects available for the mask we also have an item called color selection. However, once an element of this type has been added, it may happen to get the ID not found message, while the Pick Color tool does not detect any color in the geometry. In fact, during the introduction of this tutorial I said, when available, because these colors are supplied, when exporting a model, to the Vertex colors information channel of the object, but this operation is not always carried out, so sometimes they are not available. So, let's move to Blender 3D, version 2.92, in this particular case, to see how to provide vertex colors to parts of the objects before exporting them for Substance Painter. In the example I am using, I want to identify at least 4 areas: the cable, the 2 glossy plastic containers, the metal part of the connectors and the opaque plastic separators. Let's take a look at the UV layout of the object. We can see that the various parts have actually been separated through the seams, so they are arranged on different UV islands. But these are not easily identifiable, and indeed, in this particular model the UV islands are few. But you will certainly see much more complex UV layouts. For this reason, we decide to assign vertex colors. In the 3D view, we switch to Vertex Colors mode and, above all, we activate the Face Selection mode, in the 3D view header. Then we deselect everything, with Alt-A, or select none in the view header, so that we can start selecting the various parts and assigning them colors. The selections can be made with the various tools made available by Blender. Since, in this example, the various parts have been unwrapped and arranged on different UV islands, I can easily select them by pressing the L key, for linked parts, while the mouse cursor is on one of them. I then proceed by selecting, to begin with, the parts of the glossy plastic connectors, which will change color, and will no longer show the edges of the structure, as I select them. To assign a vertex color to these parts, I first select a color in the Vertex Paint Properties panel. We can open or close this panel with the N key, then press Shift-K, or choose Paint Set Vertex Color in the header of the 3D window. To move on to the next group, we deselect everything with Alt-A, then repeat the operations. Selection of the various islands that interest us, choice of color, then set vertex color and so on for all the other groups. There are 4 of them, in our case. When choosing colors, I suggest you choose very different colors, if possible, in order to make the areas stand out at a glance, both in Blender, to quickly identify missing or incorrectly assigned parts, and in Substance Painter, so to avoid confusion, when selecting them, when there are shades of color too similar to each other. Once this work is finished, we can export the 3D model in a format that supports vertex color information, such as the FBX format, and then go back to Substance Painter. Once the model file has been imported into Substance Painter, click on Bake Mesh Maps in the Texture Set Settings tab. In the baking window, let's deselect the items that do not interest us and leave ID selected, of course. But before clicking on the Bake button we open the tab of this channel, to make sure that the color source item, that is, the source of the colors to be used to generate the map, is set to vertex color. Substance will then access this additional model information to create the ID map. Let's click on Bake and wait for the map to be processed. We will find it in both the ID section of Texture Set settings and in the Properties Color Selection tabs of the various color selection tools created for the project masks. At this point, by clicking on Pick Color, we will be able to select an ID color from the project and the mask will be generated on the fly, associating that material to all the areas of the model provided with that vertex color. The operation can then be repeated for the other materials, if we deem it appropriate. This, in fact, is a tool that can be useful in certain circumstances, but obviously, depending on the case, a selection with other tools, such as brush, polygon, UV chunk, etc., could be easier. ID mask is just another tool. In summary, if a model is equipped with vertex colors, it is possible to get this information in Substance Painter by performing a bake of the ID map, taking care to specify vertex colors as the source of the information we want to recover from the model, after which it will be possible to add a color selection component to the masks of the various materials and, using the Pick Color tool, generate a mask that will include only the geometries provided with the selected vertex color. Well, that's all for this video tutorial. As always, I invite you to express doubts, questions or requests for clarification in the comments to the video.